So it turns out that the prison life was very short-termed. Common side effects, episode 7. Marshall ends up getting saved by the same guy that wanted him to be a doctor. What happened is he did it. That way Marshall owed him a favor of becoming that doctor. That was basically it. Anyway, I'm not gonna go in exact order, but he goes to his cell and he's wanting to ask him, "How can you get out of here?" Everyone is just kind of finding it as a joke, but dude tells him to get straight to work with the doctor stuff and to look at some guy's foot that is clearly having some diabetic problems, but it's kind of ignored because Marshall doesn't really want to look at that and help that. But Marshall asked a question to this guy. Where can I get some blowfish poison? Now, it gets joked about cigarettes he can get instead. Moving from this, we go to Francis's mom. She's up in a tree, climbed it, and she's going towards this bird's nest. As she's etching closer and closer, we have this feeling that something's going to happen. What ends up happening is she falls. Now, we have no idea where and what is going on at this second. That's where after this we go straight to Frances and her big promotion. She's now the VP and she's even got an assistant. She's living the life that she's never had. Luxurious somewhat. Anyway, she's making her way to her office and she's sit down. Her assistant's like, "Hey, by the way, there's someone here." And whenever she goes to this meetup, this is where government lady is back. The same one that stopped her old good cop team, Gambano and Harrington. Same one. She has this talk with Francis, and it's all about looking for this mushroom. Now, connection was made finally. So Jonas is the CEO of this company, the main owner. He's the one behind all of this stuff, including the whole government stuff overseeing this operation of the mushroom. He's trying to stop it. He wants this to be gone because of the alternatives. It's just intense. So after she leaves, Frances is clearly stressed. She ends up getting this phone call, and we end up at a funeral. That's where Frances's mom, she got the help she needed, but she ended up dying in the process. So if I had to guess, most likely she was released and lived alone for a short time before killing herself anyway. Um, don't think this was intentional. Maybe she thought she would get revived again. I don't really see the vision of the purpose of this death. Anyway, Rick was even here. There was that little talk with Rick and her earlier. Doesn't really go anywhere much per se, other than that, you know, keep doing what you're doing. You'll get richer. We'll get richer. We'll get up there. But she has this new friend. Her name is Kiki, I believe. She's one of those lab people, and they're tight. She ends up saving her in the funeral after her weird uncle started trying to talk to her. And there's that to that. They even go to the mall and shop, and Kiki's trying to hype her up to buy this purse wallet. And she's like, "Hey, look where you are. You can afford this now. You got this." And she goes for it. So that's really all I got for Francis for now. Moving on to the next big thing, though, is Kambano and Harrington. So, Kambano got what is the better, I guess you could say somewhat of the better end of the stick, but at the same time, the worse. They both have partners that don't really suit them. So, Kabano has this guy who's kind of lazy ish, doesn't really talk much, just very boring. And Kamano's just trying to have a good talk with him, Starts off with a bit of a whale and something else. Catches some guy that ended up stealing some drugs from a drugstore. Moving on, you have Harrington, and she is the one at the nightclub, and her partner is just trying to bust anyone and anybody. And she was trying to look to buy some Molly from a dealer. The dude gets tackled by her sidekick. She doesn't like it, but I think the best way to encapsulate it is Cabano is at his house complaining about his partner on the phone, talking to Harrington, and this is where she asked, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you at home or are you alone or whatever?" Rings the doorbell. Boom, we have our partners back. Now, if we've seen the trailer so far, we know that there's going to end up being some type of fallout. Whether it's here or later, we will see, guys. We will see. I guess from all of this, we get to the grand finale. Dun 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 dun, right? Okay, so Marshall is thinking about a lot of things. He ends up going to this library. And from this library, we meet a familiar face. I was thinking about who it was he met. So, if you go back way earlier to the mushroom psychologist or sociologist or whatever you want to call it, this is, I'm pretty positive, the same lady. But if not, she works for the DAA and she ended up discovering Marshall's mushroom. She was working with it and it ended up curing her son. So now she wants to grow this mushroom and kind of help Marshall. This is where things kind of move pretty steadily. So Marshall ends up asking about this poison, the same poison he asked to the dude that he's indicted to in prison. And this lady is basically like, yeah, I can make it happen. So she goes home, tries to go make it, and boom, she gives him a book. And we have some deep conversations. So they were talking about growing it, and he entrusts her actually. But this is the big thing. As Marshall's sitting there on the bed, we finally fully discover that, hey, this has to be the death of Marshall. That's what I was thinking the whole time ever since this library stuff happened. I'm like, dude, he's gonna die in the next 1 to 2 episodes. Like, it could be this episode or the next one. And it kind of just happened. He was talking to his bunkie. His bunkie just kept telling him to shut up over and over again, the same exact way, which was just hilarious, dude. I was like, bro, he's gonna get beat up by his monkey and get killed by him and not the poison. Anyway, as he's going on about life and dying, this is where he finally makes the full connection on growing this blue mushroom. And it's the fact that he needs the tortoise. The tortoise eats the grass, which enriches the soil. Yeah, that's basically what happens. He drinks his poison afterwards after us discovering that he now knows this knowledge that we know, which is sick. So Marshall gets poisoned out. I guess he has some type of heart attack afterwards. Boom, he's dead. And it was yeah, it didn't really happen instantly. He's slowly gonna die. His bunkie even saw. He's like, what the heck? Even though Marshall told him the whole time, hey, I'm gonna probably be dead here soon. Yeah, yeah. So if I had to rate this episode, I would honestly say doesn't hit as hard as some of the other ones, but we are peaking off to some big things. I feel it. I feel it. I'm gonna say a nice 8.3, guys. 8.3, pretty strong. Still, we have quite a bit to go on from. I feel like Marshall could have stayed in the prison for a little bit longer, not because he needed to, but it'd be kind of cool if he had to kind of work his way to get to that point. It seems like something like bringing out was done so easily in like an instant. Um, Along with that, I guess we go to the question of the day. Do you think that Marshall is going to stay hidden and then get his revenge on Francis? I'm going to have to say the possibility is very strong. Now, I feel like he's going to end up hurting Francis, and what happens is Francis is going to end up apologizing to him or giving in and going on his side yet again. Anyway, guys, hope you stay safe. Until next time, peace out.